You're ready to start doing some voiceover, and I'm here to help you do that. I want to talk today about the different genres of voiceover because you can go in so many different directions. Hey, voiceover newbies, welcome to my channel. I'm Tanji Kamiko. I do voiceover for big corporations like AT&T, DoorDash, Amazon, you name it. Pizza, was it Papa John's? It don't matter. Anyway, you're ready to start doing some voiceover, and I'm here to help you do that. I want to talk today about the different genres of voiceover because you can go in so many different directions. I don't even have the time to talk about all the different genres, so I just chose the top 7. We're going to start today with commercial projects. Now, commercial projects it's kind of a broad umbrella. Okay, it can be radio, it can be TV, it can be online. It can range from quick turnaround projects to long storytelling projects. It just depends. It just depends. But you think about what you see. Think about McDonald's. Think about, oh my God, I almost said Colgate. I'm dating myself. But think about the ads that you see on Amazon or wherever, social media. Okay, listen to those voices. Listen to the conversations. Listen to the way they talk. You know, that's the conversational style that most folks are looking for these days. There was a time when voiceover was very announcery. I hate that word, but that's the only thing I can think of. It was very, tonight at 7 o'clock on the news. It was very male, stale, pale. You know what I mean? So now times have changed, and now voiceover is anyone and everyone. That's why I really want to be sure to let you know that somebody is looking for your voice, because voiceover is really for anyone. You need a quiet recording environment. You need to be able to speak, unlike myself. You need a quality microphone. Doesn't have to be a Shure. This is like a mid-range microphone. Doesn't have to be that. Just a regular old USB microphone. I have mine around here somewhere that you plug into your laptop, and you need to practice. Okay, but let me get back to my point. I'll give you some tips at the end. Okay, but let's just go over the genres of voiceover for right now. So you have commercials. Again, the commercial projects in voiceover can range from TV to radio to online commercials. You will need to learn to breathe properly and find your tone in order to really slay those things. But then you have animations, which is really popular, like what Aaron Pierre did, Mufasa. Yeah, he was the voice for Mufasa. So you can go all the way to Disney, to Pixar, you know what I mean? You can even be the voice for someone who's narrating a children's story. You just know, you never know. So I will say that animations and cartoons are a lot of fun because you get to experiment with your voice and be different characters. I'll never forget, I know I said I wasn't going to give tips, but I talk too much. I was the voice for a little girl for a natural hair book. It was a little girl who couldn't find any dolls in the store with hair like hers. It was just such a sweet thing. She's like, I want something with curly hair, mommy. It was just so much fun. I don't really like to do character voices, but you may love it. Okay. Another area is video games, which is also going to throw you right back to character voices, because you play video games. You've heard the voices. Those aren't AI generated voices. A lot of those are actual living, breathing people just like you. You may have a question about AI, because AI is asking you to clone your voice and to submit it into their servers and stuff like that, and saying you can clone your voice. I would not advise that you do that. For so many reasons. Just know that I wouldn't do it, because once you ingest your voice into that software, your voice now becomes their property. So they can use it for training models, they can use it for advertising or whatever they want to use, and not have to pay you 1 penny. So I would not put my voice in those things. Anyway, so we've gone over 3. We talked about commercials, we talked about animation and cartoons, and we talked about video games. Number 4, audiobooks. Audiobooks is pretty involved, narrating audiobooks. Of course, we all know about Kindle and all these different platforms that you can go and listen to different books, and not have to stand in front of and hold the book in front of your face. So that's a great opportunity. For me, I don't prefer it because audiobook is a very long project. An audiobook can be hundreds of thousands of words and I just don't have time for that. But you may love it. Some people, I have several friends who love audiobooks. It's just not for me. I'm a little touched with ADHD. As you can see, I can't even focus on just giving you 7 phrases without getting distracted. So if you can imagine me locked in a booth for 3 weeks doing an audiobook, I would absolutely go nuts. So books are good. They don't pay very well until you get very, until you're an elite audiobook recorder and narrator, because the pay just isn't worth the time, in my opinion. This is my favorite genre. E-learning and corporate narration, because I'm a teacher at heart. So with e-learning and corporate narration, you get a chance to be a part of the educational program at a business, a school, a hospital, whatever. It's really great. Teaching protocols, teaching safety procedures. I blew up with e-learning during COVID because I was teaching the new protocols. It was all these new protocols coming out everywhere and all this signage that had to go in, what the signage meant. So e-learning will always be dear to me because e-learning put me on the map in voiceover. So now there's also IVR, which is interactive voice response or telephony, aka voicemail. Okay, you've all called the business and you've heard the voice and hi, thank you for calling da 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 da. For the secretary or whatever, press 1. For that, press 2. Press this. If you know the extension of the party you're calling, please press the pound sign or whatever. So that's IVR. And please, it's IVR. Don't say I do phone messaging systems, because that's not what it's called in the industry. Why is my tongue messing up on me today? What's wrong? Am I hungry? Goodness. IVR, interactive voice response or telephony, is what it's called. Okay, so voice messaging systems are a great way to break into voiceover because you've all heard them. You know how they sound. You are acting as the representative of that company. You want to be warm. You want to be inviting. You want to be engaging. But now here's another, and the 7th genre of voiceover is documentaries. Excuse me, so rude. Documentaries and TV narration. It says voiceover for documentaries or TV shows typically requires a more serious or authoritative tone, providing context and information to the audience. Not necessarily. It depends on what the documentary is about. There's a documentary out about Diddy. There's a documentary that President Obama did on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it, but I was so just pleased to hear his voice. Of course, Morgan Freeman is a great documentary narrator. LeVar Burton, just different names that pop off my head when I think about documentaries. But you can document just about anything. You can document things that are not formal or serious, So it's just, I don't know, that's another genre for you to think about. Documentaries / TV narration. I'm trying to think of another narration that I love, like on those true crime stories. No one was at the house at 8:00 p.m. when Jimmy entered unaware that he would meet his demise. I don't know why, but I watch crime documentaries and I love them as well. Would love to narrate one. I've never marketed myself to that genre, but one day I probably will. So can we review? Number 7 is documentaries and TV narration. Number 6 is IVR systems. That's your telephone messaging systems. Number 5, e-learning corporate narration. Number 4, audiobooks. They take forever. It depends on the size of the book. Sometimes you get a small book, but most times it's a 30,000 word book and upwards, okay? So audiobooks, and then you have video games, which requires a lot of energy sometimes, which requires your voice. You go wild with your voice. You got to really learn how to use your voice and get out of any kind of hole that you have on yourself, because with video games, it's got to be high energy. You got to be willing to go crazy and do things you probably never thought you would. Well, let me add some context. I mean, vocally. Okay. Being loud and crazy is what I mean. Okay, great. So number 2 is animations and cartoons, which is fun. Again, Aaron Pierre, that's Mufasa. right? So that's a voice that we're all familiar with, and now everybody knows his name. And I think we know him and his name more than the original cast of characters of The Lion King. Number one is commercials and advertising, and it's only number one because it's the most popular form of voiceover. Man, there was a time when I didn't think that, I didn't know how accessible voiceover was. Some years ago, over 10 years ago, I was working at CNN doing production, and I was training on master control where I had a headset and I had to count the people down to break. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're up. That's all I would say. And I remember folks getting on the headset like, who's in master today? Who's in master? And I'm like, me? And I had an employee, coworker who came over and said, you really need to do voiceover. He gave me a condenser microphone. A very expensive condenser microphone. But I didn't have any interest in voiceover. It seemed so far out of my reach. I had no idea. This was way back before everything was virtual now, honey. This was like 2008. So, and this was back in the day. I just had no interest in it. And I sold the microphone on eBay, y'all. So that's how long ago it's been. eBay for $40. I haven't to this day found another microphone that was as good as that one. I had no idea what a great opportunity he was putting before me. He gave it to me for free. But because I had never considered voiceover, what is voiceover? I don't have an agent. I don't live in California or New York. How am I going to do voiceover? I had no idea. But today, of course, it's much easier than it was in 2008. That's why I want to make sure that you realize that you can do voiceover. You've got to practice. You've got to be persistent. You can't give up. It's a new skill, so you're going to have to be patient with yourself. Like I said, be persistent. Keep learning, keep growing, because you just never know when that door is going to open and when you get a chance to walk through it.